Modularity is the jack-of-all-trades machine ascension and can take your empire to the next level, but only if you know what you're doing. In this video, I'll be showing you what the Modularity Ascension even does and getting the most out of it, so you can make your numbers go to the moon. I'm EP3O, and I'm known for playing Stellaris in weird and challenging ways. I'm sponsored by Paradox to bring you this video, as well as 2 more on nanotech and virtuality ascension, with these videos already on the channel. Let's get into modularity. As we've been doing in these videos, we'll go straight into the ascension tree, so we can really get a feel for what it does, and I can give you any tips along the way. So to start, we get the agenda reshape form. This is an agenda that when selected gives -5% robot upkeep. This is just pretty nice and will save you some energy, but nothing to write home about. And it will also give you 5% living metals from jobs, which again is nice, but not huge. And then pops with auto-modding traits, optimized per month, +1. This affects the adaptive frames trait, where it will select optimum traits for the pop, depending what they're working. Again, +1 is not amazing, but it will give you some benefit. When launched, all these previous effects are doubled. This agenda is just nice. It's worth doing, but nothing amazing and game-changing. You'll just become a slightly more efficient empire. Next up is a big one. We will also get 0.1 living metals from fabricators. This will be your primary source of living metals, and we will need them later on. So if you find yourself needing living metals, build more alloy jobs. It's not like alloys won't be needed for your machine empire. The first pick is high-speed replacements. This gives 10% more menial drone output, and it will also give you 4 auto-modding traits optimized per month. The 10% output is really nice. Your base resources will benefit, but again, it's not massively game-changing. Auto-modding just means you'll get more optimized traits super quickly, but nothing major. On the first left is liquid metal joints. This will give you plus a 0.5 pop assembly from replicators, going from 1 to 1.5, a 50% increase. This is really nice. However, you will now be paying 0.15 living metals per replicator in upkeep. It's not as bad as it seems though, as every alloy job gives a base of 0.1 living metals, so 3 alloy jobs will pay for 2 replicators. I think this is a fair price to pay. On the right, we have pacification modules. This gives warrior drums a further 0.25 stability, a 50% increase, which is nice, but you won't use this too much. It also gives you a huge +10 stability on all planets. This essentially gives you 6% resources from jobs on all your planets, which is really nice. You also get a huge 50% buff to army damage, good for taking out any pesky roadblocks on planets. Next, we have high-level enhancements. This gives coordinators the ability to increase menial drone output on their planets by 2%. This is great for any planets you may have maxed out basic resource slots on, so any free building spot, you can just build an uplink node to increase your menial drone's output, so keep this in mind, as it's easy to forget about. And on the right we have advanced tools. This unlocks advanced traits for species modification. It will also give you +4 machine modification points, +4 machine species trait picks, and lower the cost of species special projects by 50%. And these special traits are insane. They will really boost up your empire, and the main reason you'll want to go modularity. However, there are some ways you can go about it, and we'll go over how I would set up your pops. Now, if you're not interested in making lots of species for different jobs, the first template I'll show you is the jack of all traits. I'll be assuming you have all text for modification points, but if not, just try and take the key ones I mention until you get the text. This species will focus on general output and the most important resources, so we're obviously going adaptive frames. This will auto-select a bunch of traits depending on what the robot is doing, boosting production. We also get a bunch of buffs to this trait, as it will apply to your pops really quickly. Then we have one of the best traits, dark matter engines. This is an advanced trait that will give you 40% resources from jobs, but comes with a 0.02 dark matter upkeep per pop. This could be a problem, but you should 100% try and resolve this. And it's not too hard to. You can do this by either buying from the market, setting up trades with other empires, or trying to take black holes to get the precious dark matter. Also, as a bonus tip, make sure you fund virtual when doing the ascension, as it will give you the prototype virtual power plant on your capital. This will give you some dark matter, and it will also just let you buy dark matter. I then recommend inquisitive axioms, which give 20% calculator output, as tech is your best friend. It'll also buff up your leaders by giving them 10% less upkeep and -1 maximum neg traits. And finally, I recommended shielded components. This gives you 30% habitability, helping with amenities on planets, as well as 5% resources from jobs and +50 leader lifespan. This can be skipped if you want something else or don't have enough trait points though, but this is the best way of increasing resources further. I then took bulky and luxurious as these are the least worst negative traits. So you could apply this to your entire population. However, if you wanted to go absolutely crazy min-max, you could optimize for specific resources and apply them to your specific specialized worlds. So if you had an alloy world, you could go for a build like this, where most importantly is obviously dark matter engines. Also moat-powered tools, giving you 20% industrial job output, but increasing mineral upkeep by 1 and adding 0.02 moat upkeep. Then you can use efficient processes for more output, mass produce to fill the planets quicker, and streamline protocols to help with empire size. Now apply this to your alloy worlds, and you'll get as many alloys as possible. Repeat this, but create templates that are good for one resource or custom planets. This can help squeeze as much out of your empire as possible. And finally, the finisher. This will give all your leaders access to the synth trait. These are really good. For your primary leader, it will give +1 monthly mechanical pop assembly, which is really nice. All leaders applied to a sector will give 5% more resource output, and then to planet +2.5. Your official will also give 5% diplo weight from economy if assigned to the Galcom, or +1 monthly experience when assigned to a federation. Your commander will get 10% fire rate and armor hardening, which will greatly help your ships, whereas your armies will get 10% army damage, but 10% collateral damage. And finally, your scientists will give you 10% anomaly, dig site, and astral rift speed. The finisher will also grant you 15% less upkeep from jobs, which is really nice. As you can see from the entire tree, it's just pretty nice benefits all round that all add up to up your production and lower upkeep. However, it does trade upkeep into special resources, such as dark matter or living metals. But if you can manage your special resource economy, your empire will thrive. Okay, I've sold you on modularity, but how do we get here, and how should I play with the Ascension path? Firstly, to get here, you must have 3 Ascension perks already chosen. Be a machine, either individualistic or gestalt, then choose the Synthetic Age Ascension perk. Once you take Synthetic Age, you will have to push through a situation. I recommend not overclocking it, so you can save your unity for when you have modularity unlocked. When the decisions pop up, fund all paths so you get the special resources they come with, but then make sure to focus on modularity at the end, and then in no time you will have modularity finished. Unlike virtual, I wouldn't entirely recommend going for a unity rush. This tradition could be chosen later, and it's going to be better to focus on building up with the rest of the empires in the galaxy, and once you're built up, these changes will buff that empire so much. So focus on unity a bit, but also remember science and your economy. So we've had our super tall ascension in virtual and super wide and warring ascension in nanotech. I think if you don't want to do either of these, modularity is what you want. However, if you just want your numbers to get bigger and your empire more efficient, this is what you should take, and it will net you huge turns. Now, go out there and make your empire's stonks go to the moon. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. See you soon.